Welcome back to America Talks Live. I'm your host, Miranda. All right, let's talk about California. We were talking about Pennsylvania. Let's shift gears. The Justice Department is suing that state over its sanctuary policies.
We should not further endanger the lives of those who risk everything for us because some officials want to violate the law in promoting an agenda that the American people reject.
The Department of Justice describes 3 of the state's laws as unconstitutional, including a law that prohibits police from actually asking people if they are citizens. But California Governor Jerry Brown claims that Sessions' trip was a political stunt. He also says Sessions lied about the state's laws.
This is really unprecedented for the chief law enforcement of the United States to come out to California and act more like Fox News than a law enforcement officer. And like so many in the Trump administration, this Attorney General has no regard for the truth.
Governor Brown claims that the Trump administration, in fact, is waging war against California. He later accused Sessions of using Gestapo tactics. And that's where we want to welcome in our political panel. Joining us today, we have my co-host, Jack Brewer, on the set. Good to have you. And Tom Borelli, he joins us live from our New York studio. He is a contributor for Newsmax and the Conservative Review, so be sure and look for his articles by going to newsmax.com. We're also pleased to have with us Jane Velez Mitchell. She's the founder of JaneUnchained.com. She's also a New York Times best-selling author and former CNN host. Great to have all of you with us. All right.
Thanks for having us.
Jane, I want to start with you because you live in California. Do you feel as though the Trump administration is waging war against your state, or is Sessions merely doing his job by enforcing federal law?
Yeah, of course they're waging war against our state because we didn't vote for Donald Trump. It's a beautiful day here in California. We're the 6th largest economy in the world. We're doing fine, thank you, without Donald Trump's interference. And we all know that this is just a gambit to gin up and energize his bigoted base because they know they're going to get slaughtered in the midterm elections. And they are desperate also to distract from what is the impending doom of the Mueller investigation closing in on the White House. You know, he keeps talking about criminals. The most dangerous gang in America is the gang in the White House that is operating like an organized crime family. That's why they want family members everywhere, because family members don't tattle. I mean, the idea that we would send a woman who has a clothing line to Asia to talk to world leaders about issues that involve potential nuclear war is such insanity. If you put it in an episode of The Simpsons, the writers would say that's too crazy. The idea that we have Jared Kushner, whose sister has been caught in China influence peddling, saying, hey, you want to immigrate? You rich Chinese want to immigrate to America? We got a great property in New Jersey you may want to invest in. I mean, this is just a gang of thieves. Wake up, America. Don't buy these distractions. You know, illegal immigration is down. Illegal border crossings are down. The DACA kids, they can't even be DACA kids if they have even a serious misdemeanor. They have to either be in high school or have graduated from high school. This is just a ginned-up controversy to distract from the criminality in the White House.
Tom, so obviously Jane not holding back there about her feelings when it comes to the Trump administration or Jeff Sessions there. Is the president just, let's say, godfather, if you will, as Jane put it?
But look, the way we see it is, look, when you look at the law, it's the federal law that really dictates immigration policy. It's not California law. What really is most important and really just shocking is how the governor of California will put criminal illegal aliens before American citizens. That is just completely shocking, and it just shows you how far left Governor Moonbeam actually is. Let's remember that Jamil Shaw Jr. was shot and killed almost in front of his father by a criminal illegal alien. And let's not forget Kate Steinle, whose killer was let loose after having something like 7 felonies. They wouldn't hand him over to ICE agents. So it's absolutely ridiculous for a governor to put illegal aliens, criminal illegal aliens, before the American people. And it's even more outrageous recently where the head of Oakland, the mayor there, warned that there was going to be an ICE agents coming into that city. and that allowed something like 800 criminals to escape.
I want to
the
go to
American
that
people
too.
really need to come first.
I want to go to that, what you just mentioned.
sorry?
So Governor Jerry Brown, wasn't the only California politician to attack Jeff Sessions. As you mentioned, Tom, here's Oakland's Mayor Libby Schaaf.
The Attorney General is trying to distract the American people from a failed immigration system by painting a racist broad brush of our immigrant community as dangerous criminals. We need to let our criminal justice system work and not conflate it with the broken immigration system.
Now, Schaaf may be facing obstruction of justice charges after she warned illegal immigrants about that impending raid. Her attack on Sessions came after he made this remark. This happened during his press conference the other day. Take a listen.
So here's my message to Mayor Schaaf. How dare you? How dare you needlessly endanger the lives of our law enforcement officers to promote a radical open borders agenda?
So, Jack, I want to go to you and bring you in this conversation. So, is Sessions being racist, or is the mayor obstructing justice?
Listen, I'm the last person to take up for Jeff Sessions. I think he's had a racial past that is one that's very clouded. But on this particular subject matter, let's try to find some balance here, and let's be realistic about it. I mean, if the federal government is coming in and sending in federal agents like ICE, you can't go ahead and warn people beforehand. You're putting these men at danger, and I've said this before. And if you want to talk about race, and we want to go to California and talk about race, let's look at how they imprison all these black men. It seems like to me that they protect the illegal immigrants more than they protect the people and their citizens in their own state. I mean, black men are imprisoned in by droves for committing, felonies, selling drugs and different things like that, and you don't see them putting up this big of a fight. So let's have some balance here. Let's not try to make this all into a political issue, because at the end of the day it is. If it was about the DACA kids, right, President Trump has already put forth a plan to allow 1.8 million DACA recipients to come into the country, but we get no Democratic push on that. It's all political. They want to wait.
Final agreement on that.
Jane, lose your anger, Jane. Lose your anger. Lose your anger, and maybe people will listen to what you're saying. Because right now you're coming across as very angry. For some reason, you're very angry. I don't know why it is. I've been to California too, and you lock up a lot of men that look just like me for a lot less than what a lot of these guys are doing that you're protecting. That's real.
Let me tell you something. I wrote a book called Addict Nation, where I talked about addicted to incarceration. As far as the incarceration of minorities, particularly African-American men, I couldn't agree with you more. It's a big business.
But you guys aren't. But you're not putting up that fight. You're not putting up the fight for those guys. You're not putting up the fight for those guys. I've watched you, Jane. I respect your work, but it's just the truth. This is political. This is political for you. I know, and just like the illegal immigrant that killed that woman in San Francisco, if he would have been black, you would have locked him up. But no, but he wasn't. So you're fighting for him. It's ridiculous.
Hold on, I want her to respond. Go ahead, Jane.
Okay. Let me say something. You can always find an anecdote to attach to a particular individual, like, yes, an illegal immigrant killed somebody. There was a born and bred
That's not
American
an anecdote. That's a life.
People.
That's someone's life. How could that be an anecdote?
Hundreds more in Las Vegas. Okay, that was not an illegal immigrant. All right, so let's not just jump to anecdotes to illustrate what we want to talk about. The fact is that I think Donald Trump is very good at pitting people against each other. And right now he is trying to pit the African-American community against the Latino community. Don't fall for it.
That ain't true. You listen, you guys are trying to try to bring in immigration. You try to bring in every other liberal issue and put it into the fold with race and black people in America. And the two things don't go together, Jane. I'm sorry. I'm not a conservative. I voted for Barack Obama twice, but I'm a realist. And you guys aren't keeping it very real. That's my opinion.
Well, we're going to keep it real. Don't go away. Jack, Tom, Jane, I want to continue this conversation when we come back from the break. And Tom, I want you to get to weigh in on this as well. We're also going to be talking about this issue. So what do you think? Do we need a second special counsel to investigate alleged abuse when it comes to the FISA court system? The answer is yes, at least according to two House GOP lawmakers. We're going to ask our political panel to weigh in on that issue. And welcome back to America Talks Live. All right, let's talk about the possibility of a second special counsel to investigate alleged abuse to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. The chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Trey Gowdy, and House Judiciary Chairman Bob Goodlatte sent a letter to Sessions. They wrote that it's a very serious matter that the DOJ, easy for me to say, needs to look into because the FBI may have abused the FISA court. Attorney General Jeff Sessions says he's considering that request. Here's what he had to say.
So I'm well aware that we have a responsibility to ensure the integrity of the FISA process.
Okay, so the allegations were first made in the House GOP memo, as you may recall, which claims that the FBI abused the FISA court system to spy on the Trump transition team member, and that, of course, was Carter Page. And that's where we want to welcome back our political panel. Joining us once again, I have Jack Brewer with me alongside Tom Borelli and Jane Velez Mitchell. I want to get to that, but Tom, I want you to kind of weigh in on what we were talking about right before the break, and that is California thinking that Jeff Sessions and the Trump administration basically as a whole is waging war against the state. I wanted you to get a chance to kind of chime in on that as well.
Well, thank you, Miranda. Yeah, certainly it's federal law that dictates immigration policy, and California is trying to go their own way. We're a country of 50 states. We can't have 50 states with different immigration policies. That would be obviously crazy and lead to complete chaos. So I think Sessions is absolutely right to really bring some law and order back into California.
All right, now I want to go back to this whole idea of a second special counsel. Jane, I know how you stand on that, but I want to focus because we do have other things to discuss. Okay, so Sessions saying now he's considering this idea, but here's a real question. Do you think he'll actually pull the trigger on this? And what would be the repercussions if he did?
Yeah, and by the way, here I am in California feeling very, very safe. And this picture that's being painted is just such a distortion. But let me just say, this new gambit of another special counsel is just, let's throw a spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks, because the actual special counsel, Robert Mueller, is moving in fast and furious on a cesspool of what is increasingly, obviously, corruption and criminality. I mean, just every day there's another article that would just blow any other president, completely out of the water. A billionaire visits the White House, meets with Jared Kushner, and several times, next thing you know, Kushner's family business gets a $184 million loan, 3 times the average loan that this individual's fund normally hands out.
Okay,
and then,
but to go back to the point, because we're running out of time on this segment, I just want to make sure. So you're against a second special counsel, if I understand you correctly. You are. Okay, so Tom, where do you stand on this? Yes or no? Are you in favor of this?
Yes, I am. I think definitely we need another special counsel. If you just look at all the information that's come out of the FBI and the Department of Justice, if you really have a level head and just look at the data, it looks like the FBI and Department of Justice did everything they could to let Hillary Clinton off the hook and then try to harm President Trump after he was elected. The evidence is there. We have those FISA documents. Why not open it up? Let's not forget that Bruce Orr, who's part of the Department of Justice, his wife worked for Fusion GPS, and he didn't disclose on the form that his wife was actually getting income from the organization that actually funded that dossier. And really the major point here is it was the Democrats who funded a foreign agent who was the former British spy, Mr. Steele, who then tried to influence our election by briefing the media. The Democrats did it.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there for right now. Jack, Tom, Jane, stay where you are. We still have more to discuss after the break. Still to come, Republican lawmakers are calling on President Trump to reverse that steel and aluminum tariffs